Here's Lonnie. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Body Bags. I'll be your reviewer today. I'm Lonnie from Horror Heaven77, filling in for Mikey and Fish Horror. And I just want to take a second to say it's really good to be back. I've been gone away for a while. Another Shining reference, okay? Hey, Lloyd, been away, but now I'm back. Anyway, yeah, I've been gone for a little while, and hope you'll forgive me if I stumble a couple of times. But yeah, I haven't done this for a while, so, but, you know, looking forward to it, ready to get back into it. Anyway, so let's, cut the chatter and get reviewing. All right, now I'm sure if you've watched the reviews for the last few days, you realize we're doing a theme week this week, and the theme is horror movies that have the word house in the title. Okay, and I don't know why I didn't pick House of a Thousand Corpses. It seems like that would have been one I definitely would have gone with, but I don't know why. Maybe I thought somebody else was going to do it. Anyway, but the one I picked today is a really good one. And the movie I picked is a 2014 horror comedy from New Zealand. And the movie is called Housebound. Now, this movie is really, really good. I can't recommend this movie enough. It's just so well made. This is the kind of movie, in my opinion, if you knew somebody who, usually doesn't watch horror movies, but they want to get into it, but they didn't want to like get into the hard stuff. They didn't want to like jump into, say like Cannibal Holocaust or Serbian Film or Human Centipede or any of that kind of stuff. They wanted some kind of light to kind of ease them into it. This would be a good movie to start them in with. The story is really, really good. Even though it is a little bit basic, but it's got some nice twists and turns aside. So, yeah, the story is about a young girl named Kylie Bucknell, who, she's kind of, a bad girl. She's, going around, pretty much living a life of crime, pretty much. And at the beginning of the movie, her and this companion of hers, Justin, it's never stated whether they were just, partners or if he was like her boyfriend or whatever the situation with that was. But yeah, the two of them were just, getting ready to hijack this ATM machine. And in a really funny moment, Justin, he's trying to hit the ATM machine with a sledgehammer, and at one point the head, breaks off the handle, hits him in the head, and he's knocked out. So Kylie, she decides she's going to go ahead and she's going to, she's going to get the money out. So she puts, kind of like I guess like some dynamite C4 or something into it, and she blows up the, blows it open, and she gets, the case out that's holding the money. And she drags Justin back to the car, but the car is like really low to the ground. So she's trying to go over a speed bump and the car gets stuck. And so she's pretty much, she's had it. And then, the police take her away. Then, we cut to Kylie is at trial. See, I told you, I'm sorry, guys. It's like, I got to dust the cobwebs off. But anyway, though, so she's at trial. And they're talking to the judge and, talking about maybe she could be put into a program and stuff. But then the judge ultimately, explains to her that, she's already been doing these kind of programs and they don't seem to have any effect. And so, but Kylie has this kind of like, hardcore attitude. She's, kind of like, just go ahead and just lock me up, throw away the key, see if I care, all that kind of stuff. And the judge decides, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put her on 8 months house arrest in her mother's house. And to Kylie, basically, that's a more harsh punishment than just going straight to jail. So she's brought out to her mother's house, and then we meet her mother, Miriam, and we find out that Miriam is a very likable but very kind of quirky, very eccentric kind of lady. And so we find out she's going to be staying with her. Which okay, this is Kylie right here. This is Miriam. This here is Miriam's man, boyfriend, husband, whatever he is, Graham. And this character here, well, you got to watch the movie to find that out, because I'm not going to tell you. I don't want to spoil the movie for you. So, but anyway, so so yeah, Kylie's stuck with them for 8 months, and things are not really going so hot. And Kylie is, she's still got this kind of badass attitude, and she's giving it to her mom, and And one thing I will say though is the character of Kylie in the beginning, played by Morgana O'Reilly, who honestly I would love to see this actress in more stuff. She's really good in this movie. She does. She starts off. That's one thing I'm going to say is the character of Kylie. She starts off pretty unlikable, but as the movie goes along, as the story progresses, she transforms, and by the end of the movie, you're really rooting for her. She really is a good, she does a great character, and she makes a very, very watchable, very likable, very compelling female lead that you want to follow her to the end of the movie, and you want to see her survive at the end of this thing. But so anyway, so Kylie is staying with her mom, and she's irritated. She's just throwing attitude at her mom right and left, and leaving the house a mess, eating all the food, hogging the TV and things like that. And one night she's just kind of bored, so she's just kind of walking around the house, and there's kind of like a subplot with a neighbor who seems kind of suspicious, but like I said, I'm not going to get too into that. But anyway, so Kylie, she goes, and she's smoking a cigarette, and she turns on the radio just for something to listen to, and she overhears Miriam on the phone talking with a radio show host, and she's talking about she honestly believes that her house is haunted. And so, when Miriam comes up into the room, Kylie confronts her and, telling her like, oh, thank you. It's like, I'm supposed to be in the judge put me here because I'm supposed to be in a stable environment. So you're going to sit here and say, like in this place, with you, going on and on about ghost stories and everything else, like this is supposed to be a stable environment for me. To which Miriam, responds, the thing was, I wasn't the only one who thought this house was haunted. It was like, and so Kylie just kind of dismisses it. But later on, when she's in the loo doing a wee, she starts hearing noises, and she hears like, noises come from up above and things going on. And so, yeah, things are starting to get kind of a little suspicious. But I would say that's probably about the only gripe that I have about this is that it takes a really long time for Kylie to get to really, accept the idea that, something is, really wrong going on here. But, so at one point she goes down to the basement and she hears her cell phone going off. So she goes to the basement, she's looking around, and, a foot comes out from under like a shelf or a desk and grabs her. And so she's running upstairs. And so, Miriam is, standing there is like, you're making a lot of noise and stuff like that. And they think somebody is in the house. And so Kylie and Miriam, they're hiding and stuff like that. And there's a lot of humor in there too. And there is somebody in the house, at first you can't see it, but, the guy comes downstairs and she's, attacking him. And then it turns out it's Amos. And Amos is basically, he's like a security guard who is, hired to, keep watch on Kylie, make sure she doesn't break her house arrest and stuff like that. If the, she's wearing the ankle bracelet. So if the ankle, if the bracelet goes off, he's there to find out why. And so, so Kylie explains to him what's been going on. She went down to the cellar and for whatever reason, the ankle bracelet went off. And, so he's, trying to get the facts. And then Miriam, says, yeah, me and my daughter, we have a difference of opinion, but I think the house is haunted. And Amos, he's just like, really? You think the house is haunted? And she's like, yeah. And so he just immediately takes out a tape recorder and, he does, what a lot of paranormal investigators do. They ask questions, and then they do a long pause. It's like, is there anybody in this house? Do you leave the house of your own free will? That kind of thing. And then, Kylie's like, are you expecting somebody to answer? He's like, well, maybe they already did. And so Amos, he sets things up that, he's going to try to, turns out that we find out that Amos is into paranormal investigating. So he's setting up cameras and he's, testing things and checking things out. And, Kylie is antagonizing him and stuff. And like I said, that was probably about the only part of this movie that irritated me. Is it just seemed like it took such a long time for her to get there, even though like a lot of creepy things are going on and spooky things are happening, things she can't explain. But yet she continues to be antagonistic a lot of the time. But one thing though is like we find out that when Kylie is helping Graham fix something that she broke, he reveals to Kylie, because see, Kylie always thought that the house that they were living in was originally a bed and breakfast before her and her family moved into it, but then come to find out, no, that actually wasn't the case. What we find out is that the house was actually, it was like a halfway house for juvenile delinquents, and we find out that actually a murder had occurred in Kylie's room, and that a young teenage girl who was 14 years old, she was caught, she was murdered, and then so she's thinking like, wow, this could be what's going on here, and so she confronts her mother about it, and she's all like, why didn't you tell me all this was going on? And Miriam is like, you didn't want to talk to me anyway, so what's the point? And so they, they're trying to get their differences aside. But in the meanwhile, you got Kylie and Amos. They decide that there's something going on here. They got the sketchy neighbor. Maybe he knows something about it. And so that they're going to go ahead and they're going to try to see what they can do about this and see if they can uncover the mystery. But the thing about it is, though, is like the more that they try to uncover and the more they try to unravel this mystery, some interesting things turn up. And someone who comes in to aid them is Dennis, who's a counselor who we see him earlier on in the movie. He's trying to talk to Kylie about maybe, using this time to like, maybe take courses, like get out of, being a criminal isn't very good for you. Maybe you might want to try something else. So, yeah, let's try something else, so he's suggesting maybe she like take courses and stuff. And, but he comes in and, like, just, yeah, I'm going to not give away much more but I'm going to say there's some really interesting, twists and turns in the story. And, it does go down a path at first that you think it's going to go, but, it does, take a couple of turns. And wow, I'm really repeating myself here, aren't I? Like I said, guys, I'm sorry. It's been a while. I haven't done this in a while. So, but anyway, though, this movie is really, really good. In my opinion, seriously, New Zealand does some of the best horror comedies, and this is definitely proof. And unfortunately, I don't think this is on Netflix anymore. That was the first way I saw it, is I caught it on Netflix. But as soon as I watched it, I was like, I gotta have this. I must have watched this movie like a dozen times already. It's that good. The acting in this movie is great. The humor is, it fits. It's not heavy-handed. It's not, that kind of like really stupid humor that just kind of makes you, it's like it's handled really well. But I know it's like, you're probably sitting here thinking, well, you're supposed to be talking about a horror movie, dude. No, this movie is a horror film. And while the movie is not overly gory, now, it is a New Zealand horror film, and granted, you don't get the Peter Jackson levels of gore. There are some pretty gruesome, bloody moments in it. There is some blood spray in this here, but, not too much. So like I said, if somebody who is, not really into horror movies but wanted to get into it, I think they could handle this much of it. But there are some genuinely scary moments, some real suspense moments that have you on the edge of your seat. And it's really a well played out film. It's, it's well written. The story, it goes on at for a movie that runs at 107 minutes, it goes at a really good pace. It's, it's never boring. It's constantly keeping you entertained. And like I said, I can't recommend this movie enough. I was just so glad that I ended up picking this one for the theme week. And I can't really say too much more about it without giving it away. But yeah, Housebound, I can't recommend this movie enough. Check it out if you get a chance. Seriously. And, just honestly, oh yeah. Like I said, Morgana O'Reilly, who played, Kylie, if I ever get a chance, I would love to see her do more stuff. So anyway, that's pretty much going to do it. I'm sorry if I've repeated myself several times, guys. Hopefully, once I get back in the swing of things, yeah, I'll do a lot better and won't be stammering over myself and all this. So, but anyway, that's pretty much going to do it. So if anybody took the time to watch this, I thank you for doing it, and I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave it a like. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the Body Bags channel. There's a reviewer for every day of the week. I used to be the Saturday reviewer. Now I'm the Friday reviewer. We have, There's a reviewer for every day of the week. We got all of these guys are great. They're doing great stuff. Everybody knows their game. So yeah, again and again, to James and everybody, thank you for letting me come back. I really appreciate it. It's good to be back. And anyway, that's it. No more rambling. I'll see you guys later. Take care. Have a good night.